You know, their silly song always makes me laugh. But they should be looking out for the big bad wolf.
All right, all right. Once again, you're hanging out with your boy Aesop, and this is the Black Wolf Show. We're hanging out with my boy Fashawn,
Peace, peace.
Fresno native, one of my good homies, and of course we're here because he's doing a new album with my new homie Sir Veterano.
What up?
Who is also on the label of Freshyard, which is homies of mine, of course, with my homie Qua, who started the label a while back. We'll get into that later. This video is, of course, sponsored by Full Circle, who is making my new ramen beer. And you can get that beer probably everywhere, and I'm probably not supposed to say where you can get it, so just check the links and you can find out where. Now, before we get into it, the one thing I want to say for sure is happy birthday.
Thank you, brother.
How old are you now?
33.
Oh, you can say that on film, right? Okay.
It's cool. I'm blessed to still be alive, man. We lost
Word
so many
up.
people during the
Yeah,
pandemic.
man.
You know what I mean? Not even just by age, just the pandemic alone. Like we lost so many people, so I'm just happy to be alive.
Yeah, man, it's good to still have you here, man.
Yeah, man.
Of course,
I'll drink to that.
Veterano.
Yes.
I want to start with you because the coolest thing about this interview and what we're doing is that you guys are in town today. You guys just did an Instagram live of the album. You guys let a bunch of people watch it. Of course, it's pandemic, so you guys took the choice of being in the studio together. You came into town. You guys sat up at, I forget the dude's name that you recorded at.
The Ramses.
Ramsey, that's right. And that's where you recorded the full album at, right?
Yeah, yep.
So homegrown, recorded here in town with Veterano's Beats, care of Freshyard Records. So the first thing I want to say is, man, how did y'all get together? Now, I know that there was a compilation album you did, The Gathering, and Fashawn was on that. I know Planet Asia, Grouch, I think was on the second revision of it.
Yeah. There was so the album in which I first worked with him on is an album called The Gathering. It's got Razkaz, Bishop Lamont, Murs, Fat Cat, MCA, Mitchie Slick, Planet Asia, Guilty Simpson, Casual.
Superstar cast.
Yeah. 427. Shout out to Walt. A lot of cats on there. Superstition, Mad Skills. I don't want to forget anybody, but So one of the songs that we wanted to get was something from Fash. I was just like, absolutely, like that's Central Valley. That's like absolutely. So he hooked that up. Walt hooked that up for us.
So y'all hadn't met. Y'all still hadn't even met. That was just like Qua's Magic with
Yeah.
Walt. Everybody sending their features and
Yeah.
Together.
We had
y'all was in the deep of, if I remember, the album was supposed to release with a big party, and then the pandemic hit the world. And in that beginning, that first year, no more shows. No more in-person anything, which halts, if you got an album coming out, that, you got tour coming up, you got in-person things. You couldn't do any of that.
It was, okay, so this album was the first thing that I did since I left the music business, which was back in about 2012. Absolutely left the music business to do my own thing, have a wife, you know, like
Right.
bought a house, got my life together kind of a thing, you know,
Romance
like
stuff.
yeah, because before it was kind of just like sleeping on an air mattress in my room in San Francisco.
I do
and,
that every once in a while.
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know, nothing wrong with it, but I had met a woman that challenged me to want more for myself, and
what's
she
up.
wanted more from me, and she was older than me. You know what I'm saying? So she was on some grown woman shit, and she was like, you know, it kind of felt like, hey, I see some potential in you, you know, like, but, you know, you're going to need to step it up. I'm like, yes, ma'am.
How do you pronounce their name again?
Esther.
Okay, that's
Esther. I
right.
got an auntie named Esther, and she was the most powerful woman in our family.
Well,
I feel like
That's a queen's name
yeah,
right
yeah.
there.
If you
Oh,
name Esther, you gonna handle business.
she run the household.
She
So
probably know how to fight too, huh? Because my auntie Esther know how to fight.
yeah.
She got those strong fists, man.
Yeah, she absolutely.
And this happened before the pandemic, right? Or during the pandemic is when you started focusing.
Yes. So hiatus for quite a you know, like 8 years, and so then linked up with Qua and Walt again, and we were going over like who we wanted, and I kind of stepped back into it. I was like, man, I've been so gone from hip hop altogether.
Right.
I don't even know who's relevant. You know, like
Right,
I
right.
had just heard of West Side Gun and Conway. You know, like I was like, who are these guys? And, like I wasn't even listening to hip hop the entire time. So I missed like a lot of like Fashawn.
I want to stop for a second and say it's what I like about your beats, man, and the way that this project that you guys did is because sometimes being too aware of what's going on, the critical stuff that's going on in hip hop, you know, I don't want to sound like an old man, old daddy and stuff, but
Yeah.
the current, you know, popular platinum top 40, you know, hit TikTok songs, those are the relevant songs now, and I feel like if you focus your nose into that stuff too much, you start trying to be like that. And your
Yeah.
album, and your first album, Gathering, was so boom bap, man. And you brought back greats that were from that era of even gangster, but it was from the era of having dope beats and dope production and dope lyricy. So
It's the Gathering, as Fash was on there, was for me. It was kind of like a buildup of desire to make like straight guttural boom bap hard street hip hop, and because that's where I left off. I left off kind of in that era. Like I had done some stuff with like Slaughterhouse and
word.
yeah, so I had started to make a name for myself, and then when people were asking me I need a beat like Just Blaze, I need shit like that, and I'm just like, and then I dipped my toe into the mainstream world. Like I was getting calls from like the big major labels, and I was like, I don't think I want to do this. Like this is not what I wanted. You know what I mean? Like I just wanted to like do my thing, and then
You're not allowed to do your thing in some of the more higher.
if you want to make the money,
you gotta be a little bit of a slave.
You kind
Do
of
what
have
they say. And they're
to.
right most of the time. You know, they know how they're gonna get the money, but you're not gonna feel good. It's like sleeping with a hooker. You know, I'm just saying, you know what I'm saying? It's gonna feel good, but
never done that, but you know.
it might sting a little letter.
Yeah, but you know.
You have to see a doctor about that album you put out.
Yeah. So when
Sick album.
Yeah,
Sick
yeah,
album.
it's just full of diseases all over it.
Right.
No, so when I came back, I was like, you know what? I felt like I had some unfinished things to do.
Right.
I had never done a compilation the way that I wanted to before. Like everything was just like on other people's albums, and then I put a mixtape together.
And
kind of a
also
thing.
working with Qua and Walt, and they're very easy to work with. You know, Qua put out my very first album back in '95 when dinosaurs were still on the earth.
Yeah.
And Walt has always been my mentor for stuff like that. Me and Merce did a project with him. Those guys were like a perfect match for what you were thinking in your own head. It's old school guys that had the know-how. You know, Walt's been in the industry forever.
Yeah.
Qua's been a hip-hop entrepreneur since I knew him when we were little. So
Right.
This story you're telling me now, because I didn't know all the whole story, it sounds brilliant, man. It's like one of those like perfect storms where you get the right people together.
It exactly was, because when I linked up with Qua, he was all about like, because when I started to like think about coming back, this was like in 2018 around December, and I was like, maybe I want to start making some beats again. Let me hit up like Walt and Qua and just tell them like, hey, just letting you guys know, like I'm making music again.
Right.
I'm not trying to do anything right now. I'm just letting you know that I'm back, kind of messing around. Spark is back, and maybe down the road we can link up.
Well, you were right.
Well, I mean, like, bruh, like I didn't even have a chance to even absorb when I sent that email because Qua sent back another email like, "What do you want to do? You want to do something? You want to do something?" I was just like, "What the?"
You ever ask Qua about how I've ever dealt with him? He can't stand me because boy, if he say it today, he talking about yesterday. He's ready to make shit happen.
Yeah.
The moment his mind is on it,
Yeah.
it's gonna happen. So that's like a brilliant thing because even though you didn't fully have a vision of what you wanted to do, you had a partner and a team to make that happen. And that's usually in good hip hop. Having a good team is what makes the dream happen. And not to cut you off on that, because I had another question about how that came to be. Now the production, you just sent out the beats and the artist picked them like fast. Did you pick your beat, or did you just get a beat sent to you and say, "Yo, I want to rock to that," or did you make up your own song? How did y'all correlate that?
Well, let me set it up, and then he could go ahead and finish it off. So I started from zero.
Right.
So it was like, okay, start making beats. Like if this is what you want to do, let's start doing it. Let's like, who do you want to work with? You know, it was just discussions, and I was like, fuck.
Oh, so you didn't even have like a CD compilation of beats?
Nah. It was like December of 2018. I sent that email. He sent it right back. Walt's on the email like, what do you want to do? Like, let's get something going. I'm like, okay, I don't even have like any current like technology, so I had to go out buy a computer to make the beats.
Well, you didn't have no computer, man?
I had a laptop from when I stopped,
We're
but
gonna have
that's
to talk about that later.
You probably had like the old FL studio out there,
bruh.
old Logic.
You had that old football,
Like, yo,
that
this ain't
football
even-
machine with the
so
little...
the laptop.
Some baby oil.
The laptop that I had, the back of it, like this, was falling off.
Okay.
Like it was like in storage for real. Like I turned it on, like
Those
it was
make beats, though.
stretching,
Making
like
beats off
it was
that,
waking up and shit.
Right.
It was like, oh, you again, kind of a thing. And so, so that wasn't gonna work. So I'm like, you know what? Let me take some of this 9-to-5 money. Let me go invest into something. So I got my shit set up and I just started making beats. Like I just started making them. Some of the first beats that I made ended up on the album because it was almost like
Which one? In fact, I need to know this personally.
yeah. Let me see here.
Yeah.
Practicing, get back in it, and actually made my album.
So when your beat made, I was actually on a plane.
Yeah, so so one of the first beats I made actually ended up on this new Mitchie Slick album that I'll play it later, but the Mitchie Slick song "My Shoes" was probably like the second beat I made in about 8 years.
Oh wow, okay. So,
yeah.
So you was kind of coming right out of the bat back to like you felt the power.
I felt it. Yeah, it was kind of just like that. The Reputable song was like within the first month. Like I really the Guilty Simpson song. Like
that gives me a good view of like from what I've heard is. You know, there's a lot of producers. You know, I get a beat CD all the time from a lot of dudes, and over time, when you listen to stuff, there's so much on it that you go, "Oh my god, everything's beat. Every beat's tight. Every beat's tight." Listening to it and knowing that you went from a long hiatus, then working with straight up all A-list artists, and those actual first tracks that you made, that means that this whole project that going in from The Gathering and then into All Hail the King, and then of course Richie's album. This was a post to be thing. It was going to happen.
You know, I was thinking about this kind of on my way up here because I was like, okay, what am I going to say? Like, what are the conversation we're going to have in the interview and all that? And I was just thinking about it. I was just like, man, I stopped in 2012, like kind of like cold turkey.
Yeah, that's a long time ago, wasn't it?
And then I didn't pick it up until like beginning of 2019. And it kind of just, and I have no ego. I'm fine with telling me that I didn't like that.
I'm his ego translator.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
His ego embodiment.
Translator.
Yeah.
Remember how like Obama had to.
Yeah.
That's
Okay.
what I am for Veterano.
So
If he's not gonna tell you how dope he is, let me do that. Or if he's not gonna tell you how dope we are together, let me do that.
Yeah. I'm gonna do that for you. Look that we lit, man. We lit.
But if I'm
We the
gonna
nicest.
if I'm gonna be in any way a little bit just like kind of like feel confident in myself, you could take if you could take me out of the game and then 8 years later drop me in, and I'm still going to give you the same product. You could drop me in.
Talking spicy right there.
That was a spicy thing to say. See, he said that, but he was like, you could.
Yeah. So if you were to kind of just plop me in at any time, 10 years from now,
yeah,
I would still leave off where I am.
Yeah, we were
now.
saying that's a spicy thing to say.
Yeah,
Like, take me out the game. Put me back in the game with throwing that game.
Yeah.
I can take 10 years off. I come back and I'm good.
Put me on the bench. Put me on the bench.
Bruh, trust me. It's cool.
Again, I don't want to be good. I mean, I don't mean to be like that, but I'm just saying.
I thought I had to be cocky for him, but I don't have to be.
But that's
He
real,
got
though.
that.
Your energy for it. But, you know, if I can iterate into that is, it takes the right people to work with. It takes the right energy to do things. Like even this interview we're having right now. A lot of times when I considered myself to do this thing that we're doing right now, I would never gonna say if it was like some top whoever, he's gonna be in town. If I don't like his music, if I don't know him, I'm gonna still do the interview.
Yeah.
Or maybe not, but it ain't gonna feel the same energy. And there's a thing about how hip hop rhetoric and how we all get along with each other, the trees, the branches, the fruit, how, the soil, the sun, all those things that embody what we're doing. It comes from the people you work with. And so you definitely found the right people, because for me, even my boy Vinny, who's in the background from TME, you guys were shooting the video for All the Hell the King, and you guys were looking for some extra help. And first person I thought it was like Vinny. And Vinny was like, whoop, I'm there. And those kind of things like that are the things that make the teamwork. When they say teamwork makes the dream work. Yeah,
100%. And honestly, I have access to do bigger records. Right. Like one of my best friends is the biggest producer in general on the fucking planet right now. But it doesn't speak to me and what I want to do. Yeah. Let's pop one off.
How could I not involve you in a nice?
I don't know if it was there for product placement or
it is.
Place it in your body.
That's even better.
There we go. And we're gonna promote it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And we got the glasses too.
Yeah.
10, 20. We're gonna put the price up.
And it's been said that holding that glass.
Price.
Not today's price.
Yeah. Tomorrow's price is not today's price.
It's also been said that holding that glass makes your raps tighter. So.
Hey.
I'm not sure. To this for the rest of the All right.
But I'm gonna transition here to this guy. But
interviews with me are all about talking, bro.
Yeah.
So I like to hear it all. Yeah.
How did we link up?
Yeah. How this all came together.
When we started working on the album, this guy, his name came up, and again, I had been gone. I wasn't listening to Fashawn.
Oh, right. So you didn't.
I wasn't listening to anybody. You know what I mean? Like I was listening to indie pop. I was listening to you know what I mean? Like
he wasn't listening to my rhymes. He wasn't listening to my rhymes. He was listening to Leanne rhymes.
Yeah, Leanne rhymes. Okay.
I was skin. Yeah, you couldn't. I couldn't tell you who was popping, and so that's the thing that you're saying. You're saying to connect back to what the last thing we were talking about is that I love this environment, this kind of format, because it's the true guttural, the real shit. You know what I'm saying? Like I've been in A studios, I've been in B studios.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And they're cool, but I don't feel like myself. I feel more like myself here than at Dre's studio.
Pressure hip hop already is ego. And producing in itself, you can ask Grouch from my crew, when you're in the studio and you got to do all the recording and you got that pressure on you that, the rappers got to rap tight and all that stuff. There's a lot of different energy that comes from when you're in a small, cool studio that's going to have good quality sound and it's very home feeling. Mm-hmm. And then there's a difference when you're in a big name studio with the owner's this guy and this label guy is over there too. And, it kind of takes away. I mean, there's something fucking amazing about being in a multi-million-dollar studio too.
You can't take nothing away from that, but it's something about the authenticity of having a space where you feel like you're the most authentic version of yourself. You know what I'm saying? There's not too many environments where you can go in this world where you can feel that way.
And you got that at Ramsey's, right? Because
how that whole thing came together was I I was in this gray area of my career, right, where between Mana and this new project.
Right.
So
Man, I love that album, by the way.
I was in this gray area, and I didn't know what I was gonna do with the rest of my career. I didn't know what the fuck was gonna happen, and I just made my departure from Fresno. You know what I mean? I just moved to this random city called Clovis, California.
Yikes.
Yeah, man. But I only moved back there because I had a patch in my life where I had to move there for a year, like in '96, like the same year Pac died. And
my queen's from there, so I get it. My sister lives there.
You get it. And so anyway,
different kind of lifestyle.
It's like the Jersey and New York thing. It's like, all right, if you want to get away from it, just go next door.
Yeah, you're kind of it's a
you're close
place.
Enough, but you're far enough.
Focus though over there.
It's quiet. So anyway, moved to Clovis, dipped out for a second, and just was in a whole nother realm mentally. And before that, it was like I didn't know what the fuck where I was headed. This is before the pandemic.
Now I'm gonna ask. I'm gonna ask as part of this conversation we're having right now.
I know what you're gonna ask.
I saw you kind of not want to talk about it, and we talked about it once before in another interview we did together.
Yeah.
Now, you're not taking a departure from Mass Appeal. This is just a new direction, meaning that the last album you did,
a new direction would have to imply like that I'm doing something different or something.
Oh,
like
I might have
which I'm not because I'm still fashion. I'm still doing.
Right. How would you put it?
Same shit I'm doing. What it is like.
I mean, labels don't define you.
Yeah, I think the best way to summarize what's going on with my career right now, and how I can communicate this with my fans and the listeners is like, do you want to see me play my game, or are you guys worried about the jersey I'm wearing?
There you go. Oh wow, yo. That's pretty much the.
That's all, and I think I'm like, far as hip hop is concerned, I'm like Skip to my Lou. You just want to, as soon as I grab the ball, the mic, it's like, oh, we gotta go watch Fast. We gotta go listen to what he's saying. That's all. It has nothing to do with the jersey I'm wearing. It had nothing to do with the team I'm representing, the label I'm on.
The thing, you know what? Go ahead.
So I think that's what I'm trying to get across. Like even with Freshyard,
I think that's what
Freshyard has been very possessive with me. They're like, yo, he belongs to us.
Yeah.
But me, I'm more like, yo, here's my art. It's beautiful, isn't it?
Right.
I'm still repping the team. I'm still repping the gang, but that's my superpower. I'll go to any situation and make it feel like family, make it feel like a gang.
That's what it's supposed to be.
That's my superpower. I can go to any team and make it feel like that because that's what I do. But like I said, to reiterate, right? You want to see me play, or are you worried about my fucking jersey?
And people do that, and I feel going into that conversation with you about that, being that, of course, the affiliation with Nas and the other label mates on that label. Yeah. Hip hop, because of social media too, and just there's a lot of removed energy from it where people don't fully understand what happens when you do go get signed. When you do go put a record out, because it's a marriage. It's a short marriage. Yeah. It's just like I have a marriage with this company for these beers.
Just making an album with someone is like making a child with somebody.
Yeah. You're doing a thing together for a time being.
Yeah, and it grows up and then.
Yeah, and it exists without you. Yeah. Once this album's out, whether y'all, whatever happens, if your ethereal form leaves the earth, that album is there forever.
It's gonna be here.
And why I was saying that is because one of your first albums, The Ecology, and that was with Exile.
No, that's Boy Meets World.
Boy Meets World is when Exile did with you. Yep. And I always recognize when every album that you release had that kind of vibe to it. It was like, this is what I'm doing now.
Yeah. I mean, it's a reflection of where I'm at mentally, spiritually, and just emotionally in my life at that moment. You know what I'm saying? Because I think an artist's only responsibility is to reflect the times and reflect the era that he's consuming and creating the music in. I think that's our only responsibility. But I think that's a common theme you'll see throughout the rest of my career. It's just like everything that I give you guys is in real time. You know what I'm saying?
So with that said, with this new album, All Hail the King, and I've heard pretty much, I watched the live with you, but I've heard a few of the tracks before that. There's definitely a more personal energy in this one. I was hearing your lyrics. And also you have more features on this one. Not a lot more features, but some of the features you had were something that I was
just like, heavy features.
Like Elzai was
heavy swordsman.
Like
heavy swordsman. That's
one of my favorite MCs. So this new album, I would like to ask, what I don't want to say what's different from all the other projects, but it feels like definitely an evolution.
No, it absolutely is. I think this is the first time I ever did a callback on an album, right?
Right.
Like, and this is my first conceptual album. I've never did like a concept album. This whole thing is like me stepping into that robe and wearing it completely and embracing it, because like I always felt like I had that type of calling on my life ever since the first album. It was like, yo, I was meant to be something, whether it's a leader or a preacher or a speaker or something. But I think now I realize I'm supposed to be I'm a king. Now I realize that. And now now I'm embracing that robe. Because on the first album I'm like, where the fuck is my robe? And now I finally found it. So that's what this album is.
Right.
It's me embracing that role and me just stepping into those shoes and embracing what it is to be a king from all angles. You did?
Well, you know, your land is here in Fresno.
No, I already know what my kingdom is. It's just how do I navigate through it? How do I feed this gospel to the youth, to the next generation?
Put a lot of Fresno in this.
How do I let the young homies know how to be a king, and the young sisters how to be a queen? Like, how do I, you know what I mean? Because what you regurgitate, what you consume, and I want to feed the youth in my city and my people like the best of the best, the best ingredients, the best knowledge, the best wisdom, etc. So
not to stop you, but because you just recently were working with kids, I saw something that you posted, and you were at
I did
school.
at Fort Miller.
You've done this a few times, right?
It's been a part of my. It's part of my life.
Yeah, your core, man. I think that's the brilliance in what you've been doing with this new project that you're doing with Veterano, the lyricy, the stuff that you're saying on the album, and also seeing you in day-to-day life doing what you're doing. Yeah, you know, you might not know, but my girl teaches at your girl's school.
Oh wow!
And and she's like, oh, I think I saw Fashawn. You know, and she's like, yeah, I think I saw him walking.
I'm very present.
Yeah.
I'm like, you know, like
I like that type of shit.
Most rapper dads don't. You see me, I pick her up, drop her off every day.
Yeah, I think that's amazing.
I'm that guy.
Because
you
know,
I'm a girl dad too.
I put my life out there in the world, you know. So I just went to the fair with my girl and the kids, and
talk about it.
There's something important that you posted. Your life.
How did it feel? Sorry to cut you off, but you're a Fresno like me.
Oh, how did it feel?
How did it feel like having like a whole year off?
I could talk about that right now.
Yeah, just like
liberating,
seeing back
liberating,
to,
man.
Yeah.
Being, we're gonna talk about a lot of things. But of course, you guys all know I lost my father this year through the pandemic, and
oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
condolences. My condolences, brother.
Not the only one, man. You know, 500,000 people, lost.
It's
their
a
lives,
lonely
man.
town.
So,
it's a lonely town right now.
Yeah, and so that in itself, with my mother still being elderly and her being the top of the family, that slowed us all down. You know, I wasn't really afraid of the pandemic at first. I got sick. I got COVID. I didn't have it like from a test.
Right.
Just the first March that it happened, I was sick as a dog. I had a party here. We was sharing drinks and licking and kissing and doing all kinds of dumb stuff. And you know what I'm saying? We was doing it every. My parties was wild. Yeah. you went at that party. And so I got sick, and I have a how your Google will always tell you like yearly photos, and it's like on that day it's like I had Robitussin and some promethazine and all that right there, and so it almost knocked me out. And so then that following year my father passed, and then at that point I was like, I ain't going nowhere. Matter of fact, Fash asked me to come and record one time, and I was like, hey, I'm gonna come, but I got something else to do. And then in my head I was like, nah, I ain't going nowhere in those small closed rooms.
Facts, I remember that.
And there's a thing about that going to the fair that changed everything, because like I wasn't really feeling it at first. At first, I didn't want to be in a mass at the fair because, like, this is a tradition here in Fresno. But man, having people all out and all the kids running around, and we went to the part of the fair where they got this section where it's like Kid World, and it's all the kid rides, so all the little youngsters, and they, in Fresno, all the little kids got their fits on, and all there's lines is all the way down the block. The kid land was lit, but every one of them games where you throw the thing into the fish bowl, $10. Oh. $10 for one game. Oh. I said no, man. I was in there yelling at them.
They got to make up for that year that they missed.
That's what they was doing, bro. Hey, man, I was so mad. I spent $150 on games that were no way a kid was gonna win it. And they were just coming in. It's like, oh, sorry, man. Try one more time. I was like, oh, okay, I see you, man. You real carny right there. But you know, just a short segue, man. It's good to have the world open. It's good that we can do shows now. I mean, things are still dangerous and it's still rough for people to go out. You know, I got vaccinated and I'm gonna say it on the camera. I choose my own destiny. I'm not gonna tell nobody else to do what they need to do with their bodies and stuff. But we got to move on. And as musicians, the big thing, and this is going into a segue I want to ask you guys about too, is without the ability to do shows, like my life is shows. Like I've put out 5 albums in my whole life. Actually, I got 7, but my 5 albums I put out was like ancient times, man. And the way I get paid off of hip hop is when Living Legends goes out and tours. We do a new album, we go out and tour. And we get the money from the tours. We get the money from the sales from the merch and the albums at the tours. And now with the new digital world where you can't sell physical copies as much as you used to, you can only sell a physical copy at a show where somebody wants to touch you and the thing. In a world where you can't touch each other, you can't. And I'm physical, man. I go hug. I go to your party. I go hang out. You know, I'm that dude that Golden God jump in your pool. I'm that dude. You know what I mean? This album particularly is on Freshyard Records. This is all produced by you.
Yes.
And this was curated by you and him. So both of y'all, when the beats were coming, you guys said, hey, yo, let's do this. You said, okay, I'm going to do this kind of verses to it.
Yeah.
These themes. You guys worked directly on this one.
Yes. And surprisingly, and he could attest to this, we actually, aside from one song, we didn't actually work in the same space.
The new way.
Yeah. We
You send stems. You send
but
the reference. And
the thing is that like we live close enough to each other.
He sent me the beats, and he didn't have to pull up and monitor me like how you gonna write to it. Like it was just like,
and you're both are professionals, so
it's like,
it makes it easier like that.
Well, let me say this, because my man took damn near a decade off.
Right.
Let's be clear. Me, I've been in the mix. I've been in traffic.
Yeah, you banging things out.
I've been in traffic, right? But it was like, yo,
a good marriage.
But
go ahead.
Marriage is another thing.
Yeah.
We'll get to that
with the ring
next interview. Yeah, we'll get to that next interview. But I'm just saying, like,
he ain't home.
But can I say this? Stop. Can I say this? You can't even get to a marriage without the trust, right?
Yeah, there
so
you
it's
go.
like,
there you go.
we established that trust on this album.
Right.
And it's like, yo, he can send me anything, and I can just send him some stuff I was working on, and it might work. You know what I'm saying? Like,
let me say, man, I feel like Primo might have felt that because, you know, as growing up, listening to Primo and all the Gangstar, what he did with Guru. There's a level he trusted Guru. You could tell that when he made a beat, Guru was with it, you know, and that's a good vibe for things like that where you go, not so much that you're looking for high beats and, you know, I want everything to be tight, but when you got a vibe.
Crazy lyrics or like
it
shock value shit.
Yeah, I 100% agree that there was it was a great trust. It was also easy to work with him. He was down. That's the main thing. It's just like he was just ready to go.
Right.
Hey,
you know
man,
what I mean?
The higher the socks, the downer the fool.
Yeah. that I know. I know that terminology.
Yeah, yo. So you know the first line on this town is knee high socks.
Yeah, knee high.
Knee high socks. So let's be clear.
Yeah.
All right, go ahead.
Yeah, no, that's 100% real. And no, I don't need to be. Here's the other thing. I don't always really like to be in studios. I'm kind of like I understand the process. Excuse me. I understand the process. You know, you show up like we talking shit, blah blah blah.
Right.
Some people roll something up. Hey, run to the store. Let's go get this.
Right.
In my head, I'm like a 9-to-5 guy. I'm just like looking at my watch, like, are we gonna do this or? I'm like, how about you call me back when we're about to do this?
Right.
And you know what I mean. But I've seen him work. It doesn't have to. It's not like that. You know what I'm saying? Like he just comes in. He's just like, okay, let me work on it. He's a tactician when he does his thing. And so I don't need to be down this make. Who am I to even monitor what he does anyway? You know what I'm saying? Like the track record is there, so it's just like, okay, I already know what's good.
Also, we're in the future, man, and I can't say it. I can't say it in this interview, but you know, we've been working on some music lately, and some music that I've been doing has been the only way it could be done is to do it over the wires because people live so far away from each other now, and people are doing different things, and I found that when your talent is good, actually, I can't say one thing. You sent me a track, and I have a track that I'm doing with Slug from Atmosphere, and I sent it to him right before he was going on tour, and it's getting done. And those things can't happen from somebody who lives in Minneapolis. And the other guy lives in Fresno, California, and I'm leaving in 2 weeks. And and my mom is, these things, your family life and all those things are happening. The only way you can is if you have a working studio next to another working studio with the internet.
Good Wi-Fi. We're good.
You get some good Wi-Fi. You make and a lot of amazing albums. I've had conversations with other artists where I was like, yo, so what was like vibing together? It's like, oh, we never spoke. It's like, what? Yeah. You never, y'all, like the two rappers on the song, like back to back, doing those back to back joints, and I'm like you did that without being in the room.
I did that with Murs.
I want to talk about that album.
I did that with Murs.
This generation. Yeah.
Yep. He sent me 2 bars here. I'm like, what the fuck am I supposed to do with this, right?
Yeah.
And I just, my IQ was high enough to be like, you know what?
We'll get to that. I want to talk about that.
Yeah, we'll talk about
that album so bad
here's
too.
the thing. And then you can launch into what you're saying. When you have time to yourself to get it right, instead of being under the pressure of an engineer being paid $50 an hour or some
time
shit.
is money. That's the one thing about being in a paid studio.
Right. So to go back and forth, you could think about it. You could spend time. You could record it. And like I was speaking to Elzai, we were talking, on the phone or whatever, and we were talking about his recording process, just shooting the shit or whatever, and he was just like, man, it's the greatest thing. Like I wake up in the morning and then I just roll over and just start recording. He's like, I could do fucking however many takes I want to take until I get it to where I like it. No, that's why I rappers wherever you are, I encourage you to record your own stuff, because not only are you going to make more money, that means that you don't have to break off the engineer. Be self-sufficient, because then you're going to start making bread. Record yourself.
And then, I say this because I just got out of this program where I'm doing with these kids where we're teaching them how to do rap songs.
Trying to put engineers out of business?
Yeah.
No.
Engineer, don't ever go to the engineer.
No, wait, hold on. Wait.
Don't ever go to an engineer because they'll rip you off.
What had happened was... No.
They're all scam artists.
No. Engineers, they do an invaluable job, especially when it comes down to
them
mixing.
A better job when you have your stuff ready.
Yes, because if you were to go into a studio with a professional engineer, because here's the thing, rappers don't necessarily have the patience or the time to do it. So you go to a proper engineer to record it. Someone that has a nice mic, someone that has the equipment, someone that's going to mix down your vocals right.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? That's an engineer. Like, I'm technically an engineer as well, as long as a producer, because I mix down the stuff.
But then you're at a point where you send the stuff to an engineer to do that job.
Right.
After the fact.
So when...
You out here delegating.
The middleman.
But also, let me just say, like, when Elzai records at his spot, it's easier for me.
You just send it to you.
Because just send it to me, and then I'm gonna mix this down. Like, it just makes my life so much easier.
No, that's the only way to do it.
Like
for me, I won't, and not saying I won't, but especially because of what happened with the pandemic. If you want something from me, and this came from also doing radio work too, I bought all the gear. I went and spent $8,000 on stuff. And I spent on just stuff for vocals. I didn't buy it so I could put a full live band in here. Right. I didn't, my one room behind you guys has the capability to do so. But no, man, I just want to be able to give a vocal, send it off. Yeah. And then whoever does the mixing down and all that, I don't even care about. I don't even have a lot of preamps. I have one good hot preamp inside of my Apollo, and then it sounds good enough, and then somebody's going to turn that into magic.
That's where the engineer takes over.
They love that because it's like, you don't have me going, oh, let me see if I can do that again. Let me see if I can take that again. Let me see if I can take that again. And that's a hard thing for a producer. And money, because if it's like $40-$50 for the cheap studios, but you go to a $150 studio and you ain't got your verses ready in your head, if you don't know your verses,
That's why, like, for this album, it was different. Cause it was like I didn't have to pay for studio time.
You look like you was having fun, man.
I know it looks like I'm at an Ed studio, but half that equipment is mine that I brought from my apartment on Fresno Street.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But I knew when I was moving to Clovis, I would need a spot to cook. I would need a kitchen. So I took my pots and pans over there and partnered with Ed and Ramsey's and
that made a difference, man, didn't it?
That made all hell the king.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It made it gave me a space to be free and display this new fashion that feels more comfortable and more comfortable in the skin, because Before that, it was just like, yo, I was just Hex artist or like Nas's artist or the shit like that. It was like, but over here, I think at Freshyard, I get to display a different part of my brain that I never got to display.
Here,
on any other situation.
But the other thing that I will say,
Veterano's productions isn't bad.
Yeah, the guy's got good beats.
He's got some fire.
He's got fucking fire in his head.
I mean, my guy.
He's burning down studios, this guy.
How could you not? I mean, you better not spit no whack shit over his beats. You better not spit no
if I ever
shit over his
I would
beats.
be hella angry.
Yeah, like
how could you though?
Yeah,
well,
no, it's possible.
No, I mean, I'm just saying, not to gas
some...
you, man, but like, you know, Grouch, you sent some stuff to Grouch, and Qual sent me some stuff, and I listened to it, and I was like, does this guy make a bad beat or what, man? Like, it was like all very polished, good snares, good hi-hats. You know, I'm a musician myself. There's an essence of what hip-hop used to be, which was a lot of live music, you know? A lot of breaks were from break records. It was like a full-on real drums and stuff. And our early days in Living Legends, we would go get records and go and hear that perfect snare, and then truncate that snare to its optimal point, and you know, and even though it was a robot doing it, we were physically still doing it, you know. A lot of new stuff is more arpeggiated, and you know, there's all those new programs that just kind of like arcade that automates all this stuff, which is fine. I don't want to get it on anybody's head that does that, but I could tell listening to your stuff, I was like, man, this guy's a curator of his sound. And I noticed that when you asked me about getting turntables for the show, I was like, oh, he's still in the vinyl age.
Oh, yeah. I have not transitioned.
And that's an important part. And I wanted to ask you about that, too, is that your choice for this album, for the beats and what you guys did together, were there any throwaways? Was anything any tracks, any album songs that y'all did that didn't make the album?
So I'm thinking about it. Not really.
Really? So everything made it on?
Yeah. There may have been like one or two beats, but not really.
Wow.
No, it was kind of.
It's unheard of.
Yeah, honestly, I know the beat that he passed on, and I was like, oh yeah, he should have passed on that. I was like, I don't know what I was thinking that day.
It wasn't a good beat, or you just wasn't feeling it?
It just wasn't. It just wasn't like at all fast. It wasn't like.
Yeah, it was more like, I don't know. It's like.
It wasn't anything. It's just like
it wasn't me.
It wasn't.
I know that. Like
you got a lot of stuff though, because you said the one I used with Slug has you singing on it.
I think one thing of
that song, and I thought you found some nigga from the hood or something, because the way just being real, I'm not gonna sing the hook because I can't sing the hook like you sing it.
Oh, okay, yeah.
But you sang the hook, and I was listening, and I messaged you. I said, hey, who did that? Who did those?
Yeah.
He's like, that was me. I said, get the fuck out of here. Like, where are you from, nigga?
All right, so there's a song on our album. There's a song on our album, which is the only song that came with the chorus. It was like,
it came with the chorus.
He was like, Vet was like, man, the album's just missing this, right? It's just missing this small piece of this puzzle. It's like, I already got the hook, I already got the concept. Just fast, could you please just write to this, right? I'm like, yeah, I got you. Of course, you're my guy. So, me being the nigga I am, I went in the studio and wrote "To Be King." Right? It's one of the most definitive songs on the project, right? Because it's not just talking about being the king; it's talking about how to be a king. It's like a manual book on what means to be a king, how to be a king. It's like. I think it's the most definitive record on the album, but it's the only record that came just ready for me. He was like, Fash, I understand your sound, I understand your intellect, your subject matter. He was like, here, right? So, and he blessed me with that. And to me, that's what All Hail the King and To Be King are the two anchors of the album. Everything else.
That's amazing to hear, man. Because I'm looking at you and speaking to you before, I didn't get, I even asked Qual too. I was like, it's surprising that you have that talent too. You that hook. I mean, the hook that I haven't heard this song he's talking about that hook, and I know your voice now for it. Yeah, a good baritone voice.
No, he's in the falsetto on this one.
Yeah,
yeah.
Actually, that one you
my
said
nigga went Maxwell.
It is.
It's like it's a very old school kind of like what's the cocaine? Was that in the rap? Yeah, it's got
Jelly
that.
roll,
Got that kind of vibe.
Muddiness.
I want to jump into that too. That's a part of you. And of course, not everybody's going to realize that. I guess we're just exposing you on it right now.
Yeah, because I've never released anything that I had my voice on ever.
And you never rapped? You're not a rapper at all?
Nah, no.
So
I mean, I can, but...
Is this your vocal debut?
Yeah.
Wow.
I've never... It's
How about that?
a song... Because here's the thing, like, I've always had my own ideas, and I've recorded it for myself, but I was like, this... You know what I mean? Like because I used to be on some real experimental stuff. Like towards the end
I want to hear some
of
of
my
that shit, by the way.
Bruh.
Yeah.
Oh, you have no idea.
Yeah, I like that. I love house music, man. So I love to hear some
I
weird
have
shit.
2 projects that will never come out until. One of them is like 17 songs. The other
Can I
one.
get the Wu-Tang version of that, where like I get the NFT and only I can listen to it. Open it up and like a little frogs in there. You know,
So let me just fuck you up right now. So one of them is me. It's a super we have a video, me, Qua, when I was with Qua, like in 365 or whatever, we shot a full video for it on some. With a wolf mask, you'll see. It's experimental. It's instrumental. It's me doing skits. It's so. I was so.
And why does it ever coming out?
Because.
Too fancy.
Yeah, I want to know this too.
I want to hear it, man.
It'd be one of those ones where, I invite you to my house and I play it, and you put your phone outside.
He got like some tea and crumpets on the table. He's like, look,
it's like some Chappelle show, like
your shoes
Chappelle
off real
live
quick,
shit,
man.
where
You
you gotta check in your phone before you do this.
You gotta check in your phone. That energy is what I feel is the cornerstone of what makes all this stuff so dope. Is that it feels like friendship. It don't feel like shotgun marriages. Now, there's nothing wrong with those because sometimes someone who doesn't know somebody and someone who doesn't know somebody is a perfect match. But at the same time, when those two gravitate and then they go, zzz, and you go, oh shit, we just found gold, you know?
Well, we're all just kids. We're all just trying to hold on to that inner child. And
man.
And hip hop has provided a place for us to have a sonic sandbox that we all could play with each other in.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, and feel like kids again. Like,
and
feel free and feel like there's no like boundaries or barriers. Like, I think hip hop is that sandbox, and that's where we all meet at that table. And
with that said, because I want to ask, because Mert's my little brother, man. I love the Jeff, man. And he's a character, man. I've known him pretty much his whole rap career. We grew up together as kids. Y'all did an album, This Generation.
Oh yeah,
and that album is by far some of the coolest and weirdest and hip hopist.
I love that you say weird.
Yeah, it's a lot of different energies in it, but it's not bad weird. There's no. It's a very solid fucking release. And
I think it's. I'm glad that you used the word weird.
I mean, you guys filmed inside of a spaceship or some shit. Like you guys did a video inside of a
Star
spaceship.
Trek with it. We took it to the streets, to the solar system.
I mean, that's what I want to ask about it because I know people would love to know.
And you living legends. So, and I was blessed enough to do an album with a living legend. I mean, that album was like, I think more so what I got out of that was like, I think I got more as an entrepreneur than I did as an artist working with Merz.
Right.
Like
okay.
if it wasn't for Merz, y'all might not have Grizzly Fest, right?
Oh, I got you. You feel like that might have been a jump off.
I think I went over there to soak up game as an entrepreneur. I was on some like.
Was this prior to you working with Evidence? Was this after or prior?
After.
The Evidence, because Evidence.
After. Definitely after.
Okay.
Evidence and Exile.
One love the Evidence and Exile.
That was the Boy Meets World era. That was the first album era, and then I started rocking with Merz like 2012, something like that.
Right.
Yeah,
and then after that, Alchemist.
No, Alchemist was 09 too.
Oh wow.
Yeah, because I put out the Antidote.
That was Fashionably Late.
Nope, that's the second run.
Oh wow.
So Fashionably Late before Ecology. The Antidote before Boy Meets World.
That's right.
Same
Okay.
thing, but like different type of just different years. That's all. But that's usually what I do, and I think this time I didn't do that. So now my fans are like, "What's going on?" Like usually I drop a mixtape or something before.
Right.
I'll give you an appetizer before the entree.
This album definitely sounds like
it don't need an appetizer.
Yeah, this is like a full plate, man.
Yeah.
And I listened a little bit on the Instagram. Of course, Instagram is not the best place to fully hear a song. Like I can't wait till I get the copy where I can blast it inside a studio and hear it like it was in a studio.
Facts.
What I do know though is like lyrically and just the sonically of what I heard, I was like, oh wow, these niggas done made like a real fucking album, real fucking fast.
Thank you, man.
Well, yeah, thank you. No,
and I'm being real because I remember the timeline between start to finish, and this wasn't like a couple of years.
It started January 1st.
Yeah, like this, like you guys,
Literally.
Yeah, that's literally, yeah.
I mean, literally, cheers, good job, so fast.
Hey.
Holy crap, you guys survived the pandemic and made
How do you record an album the same year, drop it the same year? Who's doing that these days?
Yeah. Well, that's exactly what happened. I mean, and we'll talk about the
go ahead,
sonically the album, but yeah, it was like January 1st, and I hit him up. I'm like, "You want to do a whole project?" And he's like, "Yeah." and then
That's a lie. He's capping.
No.
Let me tell you how this shit.
Okay,
I felt like a cap was
All
on
right,
it.
bro. Let me tell you how this shit really happened. Check this out. So, I wake up January 1st after New Year's. I got a hangover, like a crazy hangover. I'm like, nigga, I'm not even sure if what I'm looking at on my phone is real. Right? So I'm looking at my phone and I'm like, yo, damn. I'm like, I got a new single out.
Right. Yeah, I'm supposed to be doing something.
Nigga, I ain't sent nothing in, registered nothing. I'm like, what the fuck you mean I got a new single out? So I see the new single and it's this dope ass bear with a crown on and a fucking and with the white with the chinchilla. I'm like, and I'm waking up after NYA. I'm like, yo, after New Year's Eve, I'm like, what the fuck is this? And I'm looking at my screen and I'm like, it says Sir Veterano. I'm like, so let me call Veterano and get to the bottom of this shit.
Okay.
Oh, because it sounded like you had already released.
No, I already did because it was off of his album.
Okay,
But-
sidebar.
Yeah.
Quick sidebar.
Talk to him.
This is what I love right here.
Sidebar.
Yeah.
This cover was done like a year beforehand. Like it was, I had been sitting on it like for the
Wait, with the bear and it had nothing to do with Fashawn?
No, it did.
Oh, because
But we were gonna release it as a single after the album dropped.
Right, and then all the world and then things got
got
and then it got
fucked up. So I was sitting on this forever. I was like,
By the
this
way,
is
brilliant fucking cover.
I was shout out to Liquor Store Mike.
Yeah, Liquor Store Mike, my dude, man. He made my logo, man. That dude's amazing.
Yeah, so this had been
He's
done.
Fresno native too.
Right, that's exactly right. And so I had it, or we had it already, and we're like, okay, so we're gonna just keep the gathering thing going. We're just gonna release All Hail the King as a single. Let's just get it out there. Here's the cover, blah blah. The whole time we were just like, man, this album is fucking fire. You know what I mean? Like the entire time we were like, this is crazy.
About the gathering, right?
Yeah, the gathering. So the for whatever the bear. Anyway, it had been done again like a year beforehand. Continue.
And so you send it to him.
So he wakes up and says, "Oh, I have a single coming out." It's just like, "Oh, the shit that I did with Veterano," kind of a thing.
Oh, right,
Yeah.
because y'all had did the album gathering, but that was just you. That was one off at your point.
It was a one-off, just one song. You know what I mean? Like, cool.
Prior to y'all ever talking about doing a project,
I didn't expect this song to have its own singular artwork.
Yeah.
I thought like if you're gonna promote the song off his album, it would come with the same artwork.
Right.
But they treated it like a singular thing. So when I saw it, I'm like, what the fuck is this? I'm like, I didn't think to attach it to the gathering or this or that.
Right.
I just saw that artwork and I heard the music and I was like, that deserves a whole album behind it.
Right. I mean,
I'm
that
like,
imagery, man.
Yeah, I'm like, yo,
it goes with the Grizzly theme.
We can't just Grizzly City and the
that
whole
was
movement.
brilliant, man.
It was 1,000 words in one picture.
Yeah.
So I had to put 1,000 words to it and make an album.
And it's unheard of for this day and age, and even earlier times for artists to not put their own face on the picture. And me and my girl were just talking about it, and we was looking at it. I was like, it don't look like Fast, but it look like Fast. Like it looks like he's like
my animal.
He's like gnarling at the mic, and we thought, and
me.
and the Grizzly thing that's been going on for the past couple of years with you here in Fresno.
Yeah,
I was like, well, that is by far that's like smart marketing, and
it's a move,
and it looks good, man.
It's really just me. It's me letting people know that, like, yo, It says enough.
Yeah, it says enough. Real.
It really says enough.
I remember this morning.
Really says
it was a morning. I remember this vividly because we put it out and I promoted it, and then he either hit me or you hit Qua. I don't know who it was. I think it was me. Be like, hey, what's this or whatever. Like,
I called your ass directly.
Yeah. You'd be like, what?
He's like, nigga, what is this?
No, for real. It's like 9 in the morning, and he was just like, what is this? What blah blah blah? And I'm like, oh yeah, it's for the single for All Hail the King or whatever. And he would just like send that to me now. And I'm like, all right. So I went and sent it off or whatever, and then I'm texting like Quan. I'm like, Fash is going crazy over this album cover or whatever, or this single cover or whatever, and then we had already been talking about trying to do something with him.
This was a brilliant thing. You was like he
was in the zone.
You were like, oh yeah, I want this to happen, but it wasn't them hollering at you to make it happen.
No, they wanted it to happen, but I was on some other shit. Like I started producing, you know what I mean? I started like making beats, and I'm like, I'm not really on the rap and shit like that.
Yeah.
I'm like, I want to like get on my Kanye and Crit shit. Like I just want to produce, right?
Yeah.
And,
which you're good at as well.
Yeah.
Not as good as I am at rapping. Let's be clear.
No, that's true, but you know, there's nonsense. There's nonsense to the artistry.
I think it's catching up. It's catching up.
Yeah, and you learn by association.
And I'm learning from him, like just watching him as a producer, like. So I feel like I'm still green as a producer.
You know what I love about that? You saying that, and also you saying about how you guys got together, about producing, how your humbleness about I wasn't ready. I feel like the one thing we gained from this pandemic was finding self. Solitude is crazy, man. There's a level to, I'm a party animal, man. Well, I used to be. Well, then maybe still, you never see what's going on. Wait till the world get better, you know what I'm saying? Hey, party tonight, you know what I'm saying? But having time to yourself, it's party right now. We having a birthday right now. A lot of time I had to myself, like building the show we're on right now and all this gear. A lot of this was because nobody was around. And then when nobody up in my spot, partying and throwing up and, doing cocaine in my bathroom and acting a fool and being dumb and fighting in the parking lot and all that. And I had got a moment to wash that life away. And also going on tours all the time. Once you get a little bit of glimmer of fame, fandom is great, but sometimes it's very draining. And it's hard to see self and recognize what you truly are. You see all this shine hitting on you and you go, oh, that's who I am. You're truly who you are inside yourself. And so those moments that you get where you're alone on your own time thinking about what you truly want to make happen, musically, artistry, visionarily, spokenly, once you get to those points, some of the most magic comes from that. And not a lot of us in our artistry, and y'all are about to be on a point right now where this is one of many interviews, many moments of people talking about this album that you guys made where you're going to have very little time to go back and reflect.
Well, I will say this. My hiatus from the business was like being in a pandemic.
Yeah. And
you know what I mean? I was like away from the rap life.
Right,
you know what I'm saying?
Right.
The pop life, whatever it was, like it allowed me to figure out what I wanted to do.
Right.
And I would have never been here at this point had it not been that I found it within myself that I genuinely wanted to come back to it.
Right.
Because if it was just like, oh, maybe I'll do something, like I could make some bread doing this, it never would have happened because I already have like a 9-to-5 where I'm good. You know what I mean? I got a wife, I got a house, I got all the things that I want. So anything that I do now is really out of love. Like you can't come to me and offer me something, throw something on the table. I mean, great. It might look great, but I don't think I would actually do it because I'm like,
all that's glitter ain't gold.
I'm kind of happy right now. Like you take this all away from me, my everything goes away and I'm comfortable with it. I'm like, all right, that's fine. I'm going to go with my wife to on a vacation. We're just going to live our lives. So the fact that, what I'm trying to say is that being away was kind of like my own thing to give me the mental, I don't know, confidence, the acceptance, appreciation of what I'm actually making versus like this is a job. Right. You know what I mean? Like where I was trying to pay my rent. Like, let me get this beat off. Let me send this to this person, this person. The hip hop checks, they come so slow.
They come slow and they come thin.
They come slow and thin. And
sometimes they come thick, but they come thick with like a whole other urgency on them and stuff. So.
But
it's thick, but it's plastic.
Yeah, and sometimes
Right.
they bounce.
Right.
So,
But
Yeah, that's what I mean by that. It's like,
yeah, be like
not
this.
all balls
I'm
don't
gonna take another
bounce,
bathroom
fool.
break. I'm gonna take another bathroom break on that.
Yeah. They're taking those break anyway, so I can check.
Yeah.
Beautiful to be talking about future endeavors and instead of tragic situations or woulda couldas or what's gonna happen futurely, or because this last year and a half, 2 years, as I'm sure it's killed some artists' careers. Some people there's no chance for them no more. Without
Why do you think
performing.
that's so though? Like for some people, like, oh, they didn't got a chance. Is it like why?
I think in the strength of what it takes to do it, perseverance.
Yeah.
Not saying everybody. If you got it in your heart, you're gonna get it no matter what. But
Yeah.
if you weak at heart, it's just like war, man. If you can't take killing, if you can't take the motion that it takes to win the battle,
Do you
you're
think
not gonna
subject
get there.
matter has a lot to do with that?
Sometimes
Like
too.
for artists, like because like if you're coming trying to convey a particular message that doesn't resonate with the climate of humanity.
Word.
Cannot talk
That's-
about
that's-
flossing during the pandemic.
Yeah. Oh no, I 100% feel you about that, man. I'll use myself for this. I made a song on Freshyard Records a while back. This is when they were first starting, and it was a song about domestic violence, and I pushed for it, and we made a video about it. And the imagery in the video is a woman getting battered by a man, not beat, but it's not heavy, but it's like him yelling at her, and she
That's
got
heavy.
this kid.
And how you look at it, it's heavy.
Mikey Mo's wife and twins. They were the actors in the thing.
Oh wow.
Yeah, this was we
Wow.
did it in San Leandro where me
okay.
and Qual grew up in San Leandro. Thing is, the video was amusing. I mean, amazing. It was the first time I ever directed anything, but the imagery was too heavy. It was about domestic violence. We started the whole thing out about domestic violence. Nobody liked it. I think out of all my videos, most of my videos are topped at 100,000. This is like to this day 10,000 or something, and it's
that's
because
fucked.
people they didn't want to see that.
Yeah.
Even though it's what I'm trying to talk about, because luckily I had a good family, but I had that in my family. There's a lot of people beating the hell out of their women and stuff, and so coming from the hood, I want to make that point about the
I
struggle
want
in
to
the hood.
see that video. You know what I'm saying? Like that.
What's rough
now,
though?
Now you about to
Yeah,
get
yeah, we're gonna do it. Yeah, open up
about
the Wu-Tang
about
box.
to click
But
Yeah,
what I'm saying
no.
about what you were saying about that is that, especially with the pandemic now, and that you saying about flossing, it's still about say what you want to, and who cares who sees it. Make good music. Period. And hopefully the world will love it. If you make music hoping the world will love it, I tend to think that the only music that makes it when you try to make it good is music that's not from yourself. Does that make sense?
Interesting.
Like if you try to fit in that mode.
if you try to cater to other people,
Yeah.
like if you try to cater to somebody else, or like you know what I mean, like if you try to like perform,
Right.
if you try to like you know what, like if you live your life like I'm on stage, I need to fucking dress up and like
Right.
know
You
what
stay
I
in
mean?
character.
You stay in character. It's like all right, so something real happened to you, don't break character.
Right.
Something real happened to you.
Yeah.
Your
Yeah.
wife cheated on you, don't break
No,
character.
yeah. Don't let nobody
Your
see
nigga
it.
just stole some money from you, don't break character.
Right, right,
Don't
right.
break character. So it's like, yo, there's got to be a space for you to just be be real. Be
Who you
authentic.
are.
Yeah, like, yo, like, nigga, I'm mad, I'm pissed, I'm sad, like, niggas did me done, I'm done, or whatever the fuck your feeling may be.
Right.
There's got to be an atmosphere where you could be that. But I think out here in the real world, it's like,
It's
yo,
hard to do that because there's a saying too with the glass stone, like if
Or the
you
glass
have a
ceiling.
glass life
Yeah.
and you're afraid of people breaking through that glass, you're
Yeah.
always gonna have a fear of that. If you have open walls where you man throw your stone, I'm gonna throw it back at you.
Well,
know?
like,
the thing
nigga, I
is,
ain't got no windows.
Yeah,
Throw
yeah,
all
you
the rocks
can't
want,
you
like,
can't
nigga,
hurt me
whatever.
with what I
He's like,
make for
yo,
myself.
I got a bazooka though.
Yeah, for real.
Like,
I catch that like a football
Yeah.
too.
No, I don't even catch none. I can send some shit to
And
you.
yeah, for real.
You feel me?
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
other than
yeah.
that,
Yeah.
I ain't got no problem.
What you gonna say,
consuming the
Matt?
bullshit, but go ahead.
no, the only thing that I was gonna say is that I think because we're talking about what kind of music we're making, are you fitting a mold, that kind of thing. For are you tracing what someone else has done to find your own success? I kind of feel like, the thing that gets the most traction in life is the most surface level stuff. It's like it is
Right.
it is the
I'm glad I did the album with this guy.
Yeah, man. I
Talk
like
about it, bro.
I like talking to this guy.
It's usually, but honestly, it's kind of like it's the easiest thing to, because when you get off of work and you just want to kind of just like get this energy out, there's music out there for that, right?
Oh, word.
And
Yeah.
and if you got like your paycheck and you feel good, I got some rappers that'll talk about just spending money
you want to be on some whole shit.
you know what I mean?
Some whole music out there for
Because-
you. You
Oh,
want to
yeah,
shake,
yeah.
you
You know what I
want to
mean?
shake
Like-
your tail. There's some shake your tail for that.
Because it all feeds into the most regular shit.
Man, that's wild.
And
That's a
it kind of
wild way to
pulls
think of it,
something
dude.
out of
Yeah.
you when you're thinking about when you're just like regular, or you're just kind of like angry. There's music out there for you to just like, like there's this fucking
You know
like this
what, though?
trap shit is just like, you know what I'm
To be real
saying?
with you, the world is angry as hell right now, and I'm not gonna knock on anybody, but there's like maybe a little Dirk song that just came out that I watched, and I'm from the hood. I like listening to I like some real hood shit sometimes. I like killer music sometimes, but
Yeah.
there's a state of mind that's going on with music where it's like, oh, y'all talking about for real, like right now after the song that you recorded, you was ready to go kill right now.
Yo,
and that's
stop.
there's energy for that.
Yeah.
There's energy for that, and that's
Time
gonna
and place.
be there. But
it's-
what you gonna say?
I was gonna ask you, do you think there's more liquor stores or churches in the hood?
Man, that's wild, man. Because of course there's more liquor stores. How many churches have been open in this last couple of year and a half? That's another thing too. Your point for that though, why was you asking? That's a good question. I'm trying to see that in my head right now too. Because there's a church right across the street.
Because I'm
like, there's a church in a building.
I
right
think
here.
what I'm really trying to touch on is like, what is more detrimental for us, man?
In the short amount of words, how do you feel about this album? What do you want to tell the fans about what this album means?
So the album, just on its face, it's called All Hail the King. It's conceptual. It hits the target of what it means to be a king, live in a kingdom. I mean, granted, living in a kingdom isn't necessarily the best thing like in real life, but it's the mentality in which you govern your life.
Right.
It's kind of the state of mind to make you more motivated to accomplish things in your life. It has a message throughout the entire thing, and the album, it has something for everybody. It's got something for it's got some for the queens in our life that walk with us, not behind us.
Right.
It's got some for kids. It's got something for the streets, something for the straight hip hop heads, like bars. It's got the beat on your chest, like I'm here kind of a thing. It just we really exercise the concept as much as we possibly could.
Nice.
And put it all into an album. And so when you hear it, it's going to give you all the nutrients that you need musically, in my opinion.
And with the imagery too, because there's a lot of videos.
Absolutely.
You guys have a lot of stuff out.
New
Yeah.
video dropping tomorrow.
Tomorrow on the 19th.
Yeah,
Or whenever
19th.
y'all
or-
watching this today, or
Yeah.
it's
And
out now.
Actually, we could
Yeah.
probably play that video on here because nobody's seen it yet.
Oh
so
yeah, that'd be
far.
fire if we can exclusively.
And that
do it.
video is
Castle.
directed by Yellow, my man.
Yellow Wind.
Aloe Black on the hook.
That's right. Aloe's on there.
Veterano
Nice.
on the production. Myself on the pencil and pen. And I
now,
got-
Fash.
yeah.
What's your opinions of this
On
album?
the album,
Yeah, talk about it.
My opinion on this album is, I think that we all have the recipe for like a beautiful life, right?
Right.
I think everyone has the recipe for a beautiful life, but they don't got the ingredients, right? So I think this album is like the ingredients to like create a beautiful life for yourself.
Oh, word.
Yeah, so
Very
I
well
think
said.
yeah, and I think like if you want to be a queen, like if you don't feel like you're a queen now or a king now, like I think if you consume this album, if you take a sonic swallow of this album,
Yeah, you're gonna find it.
you're gonna find that robe. You're gonna find your robe. You know what I'm saying? And I think this album is really it exists to amplify the self-esteem of people who feel disenfranchised.
Word up, man. Yeah, I like that. Yeah.
People like myself and people who look like me. So that's what the album's about. But overall, it's just a dope fucking rap album. Nobody can fuck with my man's production. No MC can see me as a rapper. Like, yo, just on a surface level, but.
And if I could capitalize on that,
don't capitalize.
No
No cap, man.
no cap, no cap right now. But
Talk to us, man. Talk to us, man.
but to chime in, it's because I've listened to his earlier work. I've listened to all this stuff,
Yeah,
right?
you have
Especially
to, yeah.
when we started doing this
Yeah,
album,
go
I
back
was
and
like,
see what you're
all
going
right, let me see what I've missed, all that stuff. There's growth in the man. I mean, we're here a day before he turns 33.
He is right now.
He's dressed up
Are we at that time?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, cheers to that, man. Happy birthday, bro.
Thank you, man. Thank you, guys.
Happy
Appreciate
birthday,
it.
young king.
Thank you, man.
And the thing is that the mentality changes when you get older. Whether you like it or not, it's going to happen. And so some of the subject matter that's on here isn't anything that he's really had to talk about or even felt in.
I couldn't have talked about.
Yeah, couldn't have talked about. You have to live
Yeah.
life, and you have to just. It has to come out on its own, and so you find some of those elements in there, and I mean, he was talking about earlier today on the Instagram Live, like it's been a minute since he's released like an album. You know what I'm saying? So like people are going to see the growth in this guy,
Well, they're hungry for it, man. I saw the fans in there, and everybody's waiting for something good, some enlightenment, something to live by. You know, that's what we do the music for, right? To give them something to keep on living on for.
What did Razzcast say? Music to live by. Music to die by.
Any shout outs, anything you guys want to say before we cut it out?
Go ahead.
I want to say, I want to give a big shout out to my queen. I don't pronounce her name right all the time because it's very ancient and like, you know what I'm saying? But I got her name tattooed on my face. So if you look at my face, you can see it.
Yeah.
And
Got it.
yeah, so the video that's coming out tomorrow, she was the muse for the whole song.
Oh, yeah, she looked amazing in that dress,
oh,
man.
man.
Yeah.
I don't got to say it twice. Cause
She had my girl jealous. My girl was like,
Hey.
she's like, why Fashawn girl got a dress like that? Why don't I got a dress?
Hey, I could have did the whole thotty thing for the, you know what I mean?
You did it dope,
Could have
man.
done the trap thing with the,
It looked royalty. It looked royalty.
Yeah, but you know what I mean? I'm King Hakeem over here.
Yeah, that was cold right there.
But anyway,
man.
Shout out to all the young kings out there, the young queens, the young princesses and princes. I just want to let you know that you are royalty. I just want to let you know that you're not a crumb, you're not a crook, you're a king.
Yeah.
Young brother, and I just want to let the people know that, specifically my young brothers and my young sisters. But I want to thank Veterano for taking a chance, for making an album with a kid like me.
Word up.
And I want to thank Freshyard Records for supporting the movement, the whole Grizzly City movement that we started
family right there.
back in 06, 05. And yeah, man, and thank you guys for continuing the movement. And no pause, but y'all put the battery in my back, so I'm going.
There you go.
I'm all 10 toes down, just looking forward, and I'm just doing my yard work. So I want to thank Freshyard, Veterano, the whole team. Vet, talk to him, bro.
Well, first off, I have to show my complete admiration and appreciation of Fash over here. There is no project without Fash. I'm just Beats without having a great artist. Fash was the ideal artist. He did everything that he needed to do and nailed it the whole way through. There was never a discussion of like, can this be better? No. He killed it every single time. So it made my life so much easier. And I also want to give most importantly, I want to give a shout out to Qua and Walt Liquor.
I love the Qua and Walt.
That's the family. They are my brothers. We are Freshyard Records. We did this thing from the beginning. And we're going to keep on pushing. They keep supporting me in what I'm doing. So I have forever love for them. Doesn't matter what happens in this world. The fact that they put their time and resources into me is forever just one of the greatest blessings of my life. And most importantly, I want to give a shout out to my wife, who is my queen. Without her, I don't do anything. But also, most importantly, with the album, particularly to the album was something very special to me. It was the first time I got to work one-on-one with another artist. And to circle back to the beginning of what I was just saying, he's been a pleasure to work with. I will continue to work with Fash, so it's not going to be the end of it, right here. We're going to continue to work.
Sanctified. Sanctified.
All right, I'm locked in now.
Jubilee.
Yeah, I'm gonna keep working with this guy because we have a chemistry that it wasn't forced. It's not based on, like there's business, but it's not based on bread. Right. This is some real shit. You know what I'm saying? And I feel that, and that's the only way that I want to rock moving forward. So yeah. So everyone.
All Hail the King is out right now.
That's right. It's out right now.
Right now.
On all streaming sources.
It will be. Right now it's exclusively available on www.freshyardrecords.com.
Physically on...
Let me say that one more time. www.freshyardrecords.com. But it will be eventually available everywhere. But
Tough Gong Records is doing the
Tough Gong Records.
Yeah, shout out to
the
Tough
Orchard
Gong.
for the distro. You know what I'm saying? Like
they
the whole
stepped in. They wanted to be a part of it. So Tough Gong is doing all the vinyls. Spotify,
iTunes.
Shout out the whole title, all that shit.
By the time this comes out, it's gonna be everywhere. But if I were to say anything, please go to freshyardrecords.com and support us directly because a place
if
like
you really want to support.
You'll be able to hear it. Go ahead, do your thing.
But mom and pop it.
Mom and pop it.
Really
support us
support
directly because that goes back into the piggy bank for everything.
We don't eat pork, by the way.
Yeah, no pork.
It's not a piggy bank.
I'm a vegan, but
We're talking about the vinyl.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's what we're talking. So the vinyl again. Go to Tough Gong Records, or you could go to Freshyard Records, and you could purchase it there. Yeah, so there's limited edition vinyls. So seek us out because there's only going to be so many of certain kind of vinyls. Like these are like collector's items. We got a two-tone gold and purple.
That's how vinyl is these days.
Multiple
you gotta make
different
it where you get it.
options.
Yeah,
man.
Make sure you swoop on those because I think we're only doing 300 of special color vinyls, and
those aren't gonna make it to next week.
Basically.
Well, if you all have been following along with us and staying along to the end of this video, of course, we'll have all the links for you at the bottom. And, of course, you need to hit that like button, hit that subscribe, go to all of the links, support it directly because none of this happens without the help of sponsors like Full Circle, who are putting out my beer, which was delicious to drink on this show. And, of course, again, back to Freshyard Records for being the matrons of this whole movement. And again, Veterano, such a pleasure to have you on my show.
Thank you so much.
It's one of them things that surprisly, first time talking with somebody that I haven't spoken with like this, and it feels like we're friends. And of course, we are family now, but you are a gentleman and a scholar.
Thank you so much.
And really, this is a very easy interview to do. And of course, my man Fashawn.
That's the man right there.
There ain't never been a time in this building
We've been down.
that I ain't had a good time with Fash because out of a lot of cats that I've worked with in the industry and people who I see coming up, I tip my hat to you, sir, because you stay 100. You have a good soul. Your work ethic is strong, and you're working with my family, and so all these things make this reality that we all live in a truth. You know what I mean? Because if some people don't know, Fash went on a tour with Grouch a long time ago with you and
Mr. Fab and XL.
That's right, man. And so this has all been a very beautiful thing coming to go. So we're gonna do it again, and hopefully we're gonna have 100,000 more of these years to do it too.
Come on.
Again, Veterano, Fashawn, thank you for being on my show.
My God.
All Hail the King.
All Hail the King.
It'll be in stores at the end of this week.
Videos long.
Peace.
Yeah.
You know, their silly song always makes me laugh. But they should be looking out for the big bad wolf.